To try the tobacco? Do you want to try the tobacco? They were talking about these, and Christopher Columbus thought that they were talking about this.
You scuba dive at all? No? You don't get in there?
We need to determine a definitive best key lime pie in the Keys.
We had 7 yesterday. 4 today. There's a bridge in the Florida Keys that stretches so far into the ocean they call it the bridge that goes to sea. It's 7 miles long, and from the center, you can't see land at all. When I think of South Florida, I mostly think of swampland, hacked back or paved over and flanked by long stretches of sandy beaches. A sort of delicate and delicious encasing of a barbaric underbelly. But when I think of the Florida Keys, it's more mysterious. I imagine bars and colorful wooden shacks on stilts that line the highway and stretch for miles without land. It's a curious image, one with more questions than answers. I'm on a Triumph Bonneville for this ride. It's a beautiful bike, the kind that makes you feel far cooler than you are, or anyone has any right to be. From Miami, we're taking a pit stop in Little Havana before entering the Keys at Largo. From there, the road leads due south, as it must, splitting the mangroves with ribboned highways and bridges that wind out over the ocean water. We'll try to keep our sea legs as we snake down the island chain with stops on Islamorada and Big Pine before making our arrival in Key West. When you look at a map of the lower 48, there aren't many places that are more intriguing than the little chain of islands that dances out into the southern sea. Let's say we go have a look. The connection between South Florida and the Caribbean is an obvious one. The tip of Key West sits just 90 miles from Cuba, and the two neighbors have a long, tumultuous history of people coming and going. To understand where I was headed, I wanted to first better understand the past. So before heading south, I met up with Yoel, a native Cuban now living in Miami's Little Havana neighborhood, hoping he could provide a little perspective on his home country, the history, and the traditions that have become shared throughout South Florida.
My friend Guillermina, because the sugar cane is like a juicy bamboo. Every single day when you get out of school, you have no yellow bus taking home, you need to walk. And it's like an hour of non-adult supervision with your friends.
Yeah.
So basically,
The
party
best.
time.
The best, yeah.
So it was like mandatory happy hour. Every single day you get out of school, you come to a place like this, you drink sugar cane juice, and you go home. Before Christopher Columbus arrived, he became the first migration that went from south to north in the continent. So we are people from the Amazon forest that start coming like from little island to little island until they arrive to the Caribbean. So we are all related. Cuba, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, we are related because of the native people. So my dad is an Indian, my mom is from Spain.
Yeah.
Her grandfather came for the Spanish War.
Really?
And when he arrived, he said like, these people haven't done anything bad to me. So
He saw the eyes of not the enemy.
Yeah, exactly. Cuba is always the biggest slavery port because it was the biggest island, so it was like the biggest amount. So you have basically this amount of African people living in Cuba now, this amount of European people, and this amount of Indian people. We are a Native American culture with a lot of African heritage. I have more in common with a person from Nigeria than from a person from Mexico.
That's interesting.
Cuban food is Creole food. Rice, beans, barbecue, fried chicken, fried okra, collard greens, cornbread. Like that's what Cuban food is, because we cook like Africans. You're gonna see like the chickens roaming around. Why the chickens arrive?
That's a good question. I was wondering that.
Because the Cubans brought them. The Cubans basically brought a chicken in one hand and a cigar box on the other hand. Let me go to Key West. Today, they are completely protected by law. That means that you're not allowed to grab the chickens to eat, you're not allowed to grab the eggs that you find in the park, and they became the symbol of the city. So they own the whole city. Don't go to the woods at nighttime because El Guije is walking around. It's like the boogeyman that your mom tells you, you know, if you really want to do it, you need to come here at midnight. You need to make 12 rounds around the ceiba tree. And people said that it's really scary because you don't really see him. You only see like the grass, like moving like this. Like something is running around, but you don't really see him because he's really small and fast. So they said that if you really want to see him, you need to be smoking a cigar, because the red light of the cigar is gonna call his attention, and that's the moment that you can see him. But if you do eye contact with him, he's gonna hunt you at night, meaning that he's going to kick you out of the forest. He's gonna follow you home and hide under your bed until the sun rises. So no, thank you, I didn't do that. Doesn't feel like you are in the United States anymore. With the colors, the smell of the food. The filler is a combination of 3 different layers of tobacco together. That's what she's doing over there. She's removing the stamp, and she's making 3 different colors together, like you see here. You see that he removed the stamp. The stamp is removed because the highest concentration of nicotine is on the stamp, and you don't want to smoke that. That's what is inside cigarettes. The cigarettes are made with the stamp. This is the result after the 30 minutes. So it's just in your mouth and just getting used to the taste of this. The salty, the spicy, the peppery, the woody, all in one. So tobacco is not this. The real name of this is coiba. This is tobacco. The Indians were like, do you want to try the tobacco? Do you want to try the tobacco? They were talking about this, and Christopher Columbus thought that they were talking about this. We only smoke tobacco 4 times a year. Every equinox and every solstice ceremony. The rest of the year, the only person that is allowed to smoke is the shaman. It is more to communicate with the ancestors. Here, really quickly. Of course you're gonna open your third eye. Of course you're gonna see your dead grandmother sitting next to you. Try it with this. There you go. See?
Wait, is a bunch of smoke supposed to go up my nose? I didn't do enough?
It looked like you didn't do enough. And you do that, no more stopping up.
No more nothing.
See, you don't want to overdo it because you don't want to get like too fucked up, but like,
Speak for yourself.
you dip it on and it tastes 3 times better.
Oh, so good.
If you drink all this by yourself, you're gonna become Spider-Man. So it's like little by little, you don't drink too much.
He was right. After dipping and tasting and smoking through different idols and different orifices, I was, in fact, feeling like Spider-Man. And naturally, we tangled ourselves in a web of politics, as hopped up new friends often do. But at some point, it struck me quite plainly what you all had hopes for. A place where, despite being worlds apart, there was no daylight between us. And I wondered how much of it I'd see as I made my way south.
I think the most important thing that we're missing in the American society is community. The way of thinking that if you have a good relationship with your neighbor, you don't need to have a fence.
My first stop was the fisheries at Key Largo, a place I was told to go for a fresh bite on the docks, and a place where a light bulb went off. Do you feed those sharks, or
Yeah, they come up whenever.
what do you feed them? You just throw like chum and stuff?
Yeah, pinballs. Like the scraps.
I was surprised the pelican was just chilling there with them.
Yeah, like they like nurse sharks. They don't bite. Nothing.
Oh, they're nurse sharks, yeah, so they're like puppies.
Yeah.
Do you dive?
Huh?
Do you scuba dive at all? No? You don't get in there?
No? Okay, thank you very much. We'll get you. You want a piece of key lime pie?
Yeah.
Okay, our key lime pie
Is
is
it good?
really good. It's really good. It's like our whole thing because it's the key limes. They only grow here.
Who has the best key lime pie?
We do.
You heard her. The Grand Record Press. Out of sight. Man, oh man. That is tasty.
Okay, so we're here, morning, day 2, and Florida Keys and key lime pie. The one last night was fantastic. That wonderful woman planted that seed in my head.
It's like our whole thing because it's the key limes.
Yeah.
Now I feel a sense of responsibility. We need to determine a definitive best key lime pie in the Keys. And there seem to be a lot. So this could get ugly. But there's only one way to do this correctly, and that is to eat so much key lime pie. And we're gonna do that.
It's not just us carefree, tequila-fueled time travelers who find comfort in the warm waters off the most southern part of Florida. Plenty of aquatic, gill-bearing creatures have come to the same conclusion. Our plan? To dive down and explore the ocean floor, locate something in season and delicious looking, then bring it back to the surface to take to a nearby kitchen for preparation and immediate, cheerful consumption. To accomplish this would require some specialized assistance. I, for one, enjoy eating almost all types of sea creatures who were swimming mere hours before, but in January, many are unavailable to be coerced back to the boat. Determining who's who a dozen meters below the surface is no matter for a traveling underwater fisherman inexperienced with the terrain. Thankfully, I was joined by Devin, whose trained eye was well versed in this sort of specialized sorting. Down on the seafloor, we drifted and followed schools at a couple of known locations for good hunting. But every time I pointed towards something that looked interesting, I was returned with a shake of the head. Off limits. There were lots of fish, but none of the right ones. There were also turtles. And some other kinds of fish we kept our distance from. Like the ones we saw at the fisheries. What did I call them?
Oh, they're nurse sharks, yeah, so they're like puppies.
Puppies? It had been a few hours of holding our slings without even a chance of missing a target. Then, perhaps out of sympathy, Devin seemed to change course and honed in on the antenna of a well-known, tasty crustacean. And so it began. An old-fashioned game of cat and mouse, or how to catch a lobster. We did it. We caught something.
Good sized tail for that too. Here is how you can tell whether it's a male or a female lobster. Yep. So underneath here, there's only one set of swimmerettes on each side, so it's a male lobster. Female lobsters have they'll have two sets of swimmerettes to hold all the eggs. To here, so you got an extra like quarter inch. Yeah. Yeah. Sick.
On its face, spearfishing is near the apex of sporting joy. A combination of hunting and fishing, hidden safely beneath the surface chop and rays from the beating hot sun. And in my case, strapped with a tank of oxygen, floating calmly with the currents towards tonight's unsuspecting meal, like a safari hunter of the sea. So we didn't get a shot off. Sometimes that's how it goes. But we didn't come up empty-handed either.
All you do with lobsters is it's like wringing out a towel. hand right here, one hand right here. Pull and twist. There's your meat. Wow. And then this goes back. And to clean it, you spread that tail along just like what we saw. This is their intestinal tract essentially. So this goes up in there. Give it a couple twists. And then all of that comes right on out. There's your lobster tail. Here you go, get a bag and fly.
Was it, and it was still alive when you pulled it apart like that?
So they
Or
go into like a comatose state almost when they're in the ice. So on the ice, like if I were to just pull it straight out of the ocean and wring it, it's gonna flap around and flop like crazy. When you put it on ice, they kind of just go to sleep.
After a lesson on cleaning, I took the meaty tail over to the fish house on a bag of ice and asked that they take me the rest of the way home. And that they did. It's hard to imagine today, but not much more than a century ago, much of South Florida was impassable. It was untamed swampland with brutally sweltering conditions when Henry Flagler visited for the first time in the last quarter of the 1800s. But he saw something more, and as a co-founder of Standard Oil with none other than John D. Rockefeller, he had all the means to see to it. Over the next decade, he purchased fragmented railroad sections that extended only midway down the state and consolidated them into the Florida East Coast Railroad. Then, he pushed south, extending along the coast, turning places like Palm Beach and Miami from backwater to boom towns along the way. In 1905, not long after reaching Miami, news of the Panama Canal broke. Key West, 4 times the size of Miami at the time, but reachable only by boat, seemed poised to be America's first handshake with the new flow of cargo ships. Flagler saw an opportunity and went all in on the railroad that goes to sea. Nothing like it had been attempted before, much less in the brutally humid climates of South Florida. Men were brought in from all over the world, as much as 4,000 at the peak, in a fleet of support boats so immense that it became known as Flagler's Navy. Granite and minerals were shipped down from as far north as Maine, as bedrock was blasted and repositioned into new landmass, including 134 acres of new ground at Key West Trumbull Point. But perhaps the most incredible was the 7-mile bridge, a stretch of tracks that extends so far out of the ocean water that you lose sight of both sides. The project lasted 7 years in total and battled through 2 hurricanes. In the process, more than 250 men lost their lives. But the vision was compelling, and despite horrid conditions, spirits remained high. And then it was done. On January 22nd, 1912, the first train rolled into Key West with Uncle Henry aboard the front passenger car. A crowd of 10,000 welcomed him, with cheers and fireworks in a celebration lasting 2 weeks, as people savored this singular moment. Something that had never been done, and would never be done again. Henry had reshaped Florida, and believed he'd shaped the future. He died just a year later, never knowing how wrong he'd be. The Panama Canal cargo ships never came. Instead, they opted for New Orleans, and Tampa, and even Miami, for their deep water ports and superior infrastructure. Left with only passengers to transport, the railroad struggled making ends meet, and when the 1935 hurricane brutalized the tracks, its fate was sealed. What it cost Flagler $50 million to build, over $1.5 billion today, would be sold off for less than $2 million to the state. Over the following years, they turned it into the Overseas Highway, opening in 1938 and replacing the dream of commerce with a steady hum of wide-eyed vacationers and dreamers. But so much of what Flagler saw and willed into existence remains. Palm Beach and Miami stand today as hubs along the thriving east coast of South Florida, and as a testament, parts of the old Florida East Coast Railroad have been left standing as you travel southward. And the 7-mile bridge lives on, its modern replacement opening in 1982 while the old bridge was retired into a walking path. It shows up often in Hollywood.
Negative. That's a negative, Flight 01.
And even Jimmy Buffett credits a traffic jam on the bridge as the place he finished Margaritaville.
Some people claim that there's a woman to blame, but I know it's my own damn fault.
There's no road like it. When you're halfway out and you can't see land on either side, it really does feel like a road that goes to sea. It's unnerving and magical. And regardless of how fate treats best laid plans, it stands as a monument to audacity, a fitting gateway to the American Caribbean.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Just had slice number 17. I had to pull over because I feel like shit. I feel uneasy, feel unwell. It's too much pie. You know, at one point it was 9, now we're 19. I don't know if that's where we'll finish, but I'm hoping so. The last stop on the overseas highway is Key West, a place that once inspired the sitting president to build his winter White House. Home to perhaps the country's greatest writer and his six-toed cats for more than a decade. Even Dylan had a stint of inspiration here.
Key West is fine and fair. If you lost your mind, you'll find it there. Key West is on the horizon.
It's a unique place that once tried to become a country of its own, full of people somewhere outside the mainstream, but not quite ready to leave the mothership altogether. Bright colors, funky houses, and the smells of delicious Cuban influence are happily unmissable.
What's your favorite?
On sandwiches, cubano, yeah. Nothing better than that. You got a little bit of cheese, Swiss, then you got your ham, and then you got your pork, you know, shredded pork on top. It's a perfect match. You see, you got my mouth all watered down.
We're not messing around. Come on.
I know you're not local, but I'm gonna give you a local discount. How's that?
My man.
As soon as you move, the easier it's gonna be. Remember the sentence says starting at $83,000 or something like that. Let's say 90,000.
Yeah.
I used to get paid as a helper $15, right? A helper right now in construction get paid $15. Those houses, $1 million. I mean, I don't have to go to school to notice that the prices of real estate goes up.
Yeah.
Labor,
Not so much.
is not so much.
Duval Street is an endless back porch hangout, whose waterfall cascades from brunch to last call with the elegance you'd expect from a place whose clock is permanently set to happy hour. It's full of red faces and colored drinks, and it's hard to find someone having a bad time. Definitely not me. No matter how much dark, rich, heavenly fuel I found at the bottom of those small styrofoam cups, the islands never quite seemed to wake up. The old muse remained a little ways off, perhaps a little further south, or maybe a little further back, in time. But as long as the cups stay full, it's not a problem for anyone here, and they sure can make some pie.
Well, the benefit to being a complete sicko and having key lime pie in the morning is you get the whole place to yourself. The breakfast of champions.
Publix. It was a hitter. Yeah, it's a grocery store, but if someone thinks it's the best, you gotta check it out. Old Man Pie. This is it. This is the last one. And this is number 19, maybe 18, maybe 20. It's been a lot. All in the name of research. I think it's 7 yesterday.
Is it too early for key lime pie?
Alright, this is 4 today. So let's rank it.
It turns out, which is often the case, the good stuff is mostly at the bottom. But mid-island bellies need pie too. And midways, it's worth a stop. It's a generous slice, thick custard, and a heaping meringue. Only major mark on the official scoreboard is the lack of graham cracker crust. 8.7 overall. The Banana Cafe didn't start well for me. Raspberry drizzle, a terrifying combination of food words. And on key lime? But in the name of thoroughness, kept my mind open. And before long, remarkably, it joined the ever-shrinking class of finishers. 8-9. No drizzle, who knows? Blue Haven might be the coolest joint of the whole bunch. A backyard hangout with stories of Hemingway's misadventures lining the walls, and the slice is prime. Really good. I just think they get a little carried away on the meringue. It's top heavy. Even so, our first 9. Perhaps I'll always feel a bit obliged to dance with the one I came with. But honestly, my friend up front wasn't wrong.
Who has the best key lime pie?
We do.
The crust is buttery sweet graham cracker, maybe the best I had the whole trip. Nothing flashy, just simple and fantastic. 9.2. Moondogs is the one you don't want to like, because everyone's already onto it. But there's a reason for that. Look at that thing. It's creamy, velvety, has this early fresh tang, great crust.
This is by far the best one I've had today.
So what do? It's a money slice if you're okay waiting for it. Another 9 too. And then there was one. Rarefied air. Pepe's has a little Wrigley feel going on. The sort of expectation that comes with something that's lasted 100 years.
I can already tell I'm gonna like this one. It just looks so classic. Ooh. Yeah. You know when you know. You meet someone, taste something, This thing is an American classic. This is key lime pie.
I like simple things, not elaborate, just delicious. And Pepe's key lime pie is a heater right down the middle. Deeply satisfying. And my vote for the place you should go if for some strange and unthinkable reason you decide to only have one.
This is the last couple of the finishers. And this is my second pie before lunchtime. What a sicko does 2 pies before lunchtime.
Epilogue. Late in the afternoon, after slice number 17 or so, I wandered down below the deck at Bourdain's waterfront. A bar hand I'd seen before was easing back and forth on a wooden swing, looking out at the white dot of boats clustered together in the harbor. All the way down, past the mangroves and bridge that goes to sea, exposed, yet still tucked away. Protected. Many miles, or in some cases, many years from problems, but not all the way free. I can't quite put a finger on it. Not fully American, not fully Caribbean. A limbo. Its own dance altogether.